the fruit of the Spirit. Maybe it's your first time hearing about it. Maybe you've heard about it before. Maybe you were like me. I remember the first time I heard it, I was in kids' church. You see, we had kids' church and then we had big church when I was growing up. Kids' church is where the kids went and big church was where the adults went. And in kids' church, the teacher came forward and was like, we're going to share a little bit about the fruit of the Spirit. And she had these different fruits. She had an orange, an apple, and a banana. And she was like, we're going to learn about the fruit of the Spirit. Now, I'm just sitting there at that time wondering, okay, let's hear about the fruit of the Spirit, but where are the donuts? I realized that these fruit of the Spirit, obviously there was something more to this that I wasn't understanding. And then came to the point where they read this passage that we find in Galatians chapter 5. It says this. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. You see, I thought that the first time I heard this, because there were so many different fruits, that it was the fruits of the Spirit. And then I reread it. It's the fruit of the Spirit. It is not these separate different fruits. It's this one unified whole. The fruit of the Spirit living through us. And how would I allow that Spirit to live through me to change my life? You see, if we read a little bit above where we jumped in Galatians chapter 5, this is Paul. He says, so I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh, for the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. You see, the older and older I've gotten, the more I've learned that my flesh desires things that are not good for my spirit, and my spirit desires things that the flesh would never dream of. You see, I need love in the presence of hate and joy in the midst of sorrow. And I need peace as a remedy in disharmony, patience in uncertainty, kindness in the face of hostility, goodness that silences the evilness, faithfulness that removes the inconsistency, gentleness that breaks what seems to be immovable, and self-control that brings stability. You see, I need the fruit of the Spirit in my every single day life. Maybe you need it as well. You see, it is not something we look at and we say, well, I need joy today and maybe peace tomorrow. It's God, I need the fruit of your Spirit. You know what I love about this passage is it proves once again that it's the Spirit producing the fruit through us. So you live a life of love, joy, and peace. Amazingly characteristics of the Father. A God who is love. A God who gives us everything we could ever ask for, that brings us joy. And then the Prince of Peace. And patience, kindness, goodness. That we'd be able to treat other people with this fruit, with this love. And then how we handle ourselves, our thoughts, minds. That we would have self-control. You see, I've often had to ask myself, is there things in my life that I'm not proud of? Maybe you're like me and the answer to that question is yes. Maybe you've had times when you've made mistakes and you're not proud of those things. Those are those fleshly desires. And when we allow the Spirit to reside in us and to produce that fruit in us, it pushes away the fleshly desires so the Spirit can be made alive in us. That's the power of the Spirit. That's the power of the fruit of the Spirit. Now we're going to spend some more time over these next few videos that you're going to see throughout this week, where we're going to have some of our pastors be able to share even more about the fruit of the Spirit. That's what it's about. It's not what I am producing. It's what the Spirit is producing in me. Am I being self-led? Or am I being Spirit-led? My prayer is that each of us would grow daily more and more to look more and more like Christ, allowing every step to be led by the Spirit in love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and gentleness and self-control. Let the fruit of the Spirit be made real and be made alive in your life today.